two just got off of a panel. I did as well. We were talking about different aspects of AI and creativity. What do you think was the most interesting question that you were asked on that panel, or at least the most provocative conversation to come out of it?
What do you think? I was the one firing questions at him.
I liked when I got to talk about the process of just like writer's block. And Wes was asking me, my views on writer's block, and I was telling him that I don't believe that it exists.
Ooh,
yeah,
hot take.
Take. Yeah. So that was cool because I really don't believe it exists.
Okay, we're going to double click on that in a second.
Okay.
But first, it would be good for our audience to know who you two are. I think of you as the experimentalist, you as the non-corporate guy.
Sounds about right.
Tell us a little bit about your backgrounds and how you came here.
Sure. So Wes Hopkins. So right now I'm a director of engineering at Adobe, where I work with our Firefly Foundry product, making frontier models, but bespoke for brands and creators and commercially safe. And so that's a fun gig, and I'm more than blessed to have an amazing team of artists and engineers who they blow my mind every day, like, with their creativity and making things for customers and really like leading the way in terms of what the experiences of creativity is like in the future. A little backstory for me. I mean, I've been an engineer since like on a 286 making batch files, and since then, I've been in and around creative companies my whole career, and now I'm making more stuff. It's never changed. It's just the companies are different.
Yeah. What about you?
King Willonius. I'm a AI comedian and self-proclaimed curious doer. So my story is a stand-up comedian and screenwriter. The writer strike happened, and then I pivoted and leaned all the way into AI. Made the song called BBL Drizzy, and
Which went viral.
Yeah, it went massively viral. Became the first AI sample song in music history by Drake. And now I just I do AI, full time, and I'm just using these tools to create better comedy and storytelling.
Okay, so I actually talk about your track in one of my keynotes that I do around AI and creativity. I don't know if you know this, but I made the first AI pop album in 2017.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, way back in the day. But I talk about how you made a Drake song better than Drake could make a Drake song.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh.
In my keynote.
That's a bar.
But we share a sort of unique trait, which is that when most artists were kind of rejecting these tools and saying, like, this is really scary, this is really threatening, we both sort of leaned in and said, this is really interesting.
Right.
And I always say I feel like an anthropologist, like a Jane Goodall of AI, where I'm playing, I'm poking, I'm learning the limitations, I'm stretching it.
Right.
I just want to see what's possible.
Right.
For you, what was the first, I guess, spark of an idea that sent you down the path of using AI? Because especially in the writer's world, man, even more so than in music, I think people were really resistant and still are resistant.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Man, I think it was just like messing around with ChatGPT back in like, what was it, December 2022? I was just blown away by the things that it could do. And I was so fascinated. And I was like, I remember there was a podcast with I think it was the CEO of Stability AI at the time, and the host asked them, they were like, what would you tell a 20-year-old in college right now? And he was like, I'll tell them to drop everything and focus on AI. And I was like, okay, all right. And then the writer strike happened, and I was just like, oh my God. A lot of my friends were very anti-AI, which makes sense. And so I had like a come to Jesus moment where I was just like, okay, do I continue to lean into these tools or, just try to write scripts and whatnot? Because I didn't want to get blackballed by, the WGA because I'm using AI. And then I remember just sitting in my room one day, I was messing around with ChatGPT and Midjourney, and I was like, all right, well, let me look at all the checks that I got from the WGA. And it was 0. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna bet on myself. And then the rest is history.
That's amazing. Well, and that's usually kind of how innovation starts. If you think about it, is you have this class of creators that are struggling to make it in the traditional system for whatever reason, the gatekeeping, and then they find these new tools that enable them to be heard. It's really no different from the YouTube revolution.
Right. Well, and also I think that we don't talk about enough about just like how much fun we have using these tools. Like it's really fun. And I lean towards fun no matter what. That's like my default. So like, when you're making music or you're making images or even, you're making a film or whatnot, you're just like, I got something in my head and I can now bring it out. Like this wasn't, and I can do it by myself, and not to say I love the collaborative spirit of making films with a group and whatnot, but sometimes you just need to work fast, and you're just like, I don't know if this is a thing, but let me just try something, and you can do it, and a lot of times it ends up being amazing.
Absolutely, it's also great for ADHD. The dopamine loop is fast, right? So you can actually start something and get it done. And the thing is, because you get some satisfaction over the initial creation, it's easier to hang in there and push it to the limits. So I'd love to hear from you, Wes. Yeah. On the tool front, what is exciting for you being at Adobe, figuring out what new features are fun for creatives? Yeah. I think one of the complaint I hear from creatives with some of the first-gen AI tools is that they're too plug and play. It's not fun to just click a button and get a final product and not be able to massage it, to really have sort of have a creative vision behind it. So how is Adobe thinking about this in their tool rollout?
Yeah, absolutely. Like creators don't want a prompt to feature film type of experience, right? Like just like with a great enough prompt, I'll get exactly the results that I want. Like creatives want to explore the output. They have a vision in their head and they want to be able to direct that. And I think a lot of what the tools today's are missing is the ability to infuse it with your creative direction, right? It's like very abstracted behind simplistic interfaces. And so one of the things that especially that my team is exploring is that there's a lot of artists on that team who they've worked on feature films before, they're graphics, 3D, VFX, et cetera. And for them also as practitioners, but also tool users, what AI is doing is it's a really leveling function. And one instance in particular was that there was a 3D artist on my team and said, well, like even our tools don't do this and our competitive tools don't do this. What I really want to be able to do is like manipulate a 3D object in this particular way. And so, but he's a creative. He's not a developer. He couldn't crack open the source code to some of these like big projects, but he knew exactly how he wanted to apply the control to get the results that he wanted. And then he, spent a couple days and chefed up something completely novel and new, which gave him exactly the types of creative control that he wants to have over his creation with exactly the dials and the knobs so that he could take using like generative coding and then also hooked up to a generative model or whatnot to be able to make exactly what he wanted in the way that he wanted to control it. And so what I see here is that like it's democratizing the ability for people who have a creative vision about how they want to articulate and design software and their process and collapse that and allow them to bring that to life. And so my team is spread across multiple different companies and processes and in terms of like what our clients are trying to do. And now we're able to help them articulate their creative vision to life way faster with the type of control that they want.
King, what about you? What are the tools that you're excited about? I know you walk people through your workflows. How has your workflow changed maybe since you first released the Drake song? But yeah, what are the tools that get you excited? And
so I'm using all the generative music tools. So Suno, I love Adobe's products. They're amazing. I made Enter the BBL Drizzy verse using their products, and I really love boards.
Boards?
Yeah.
I don't know boards.
Oh, maybe do you want to talk about
Yeah, sure. So Adobe Firefly Boards is an infinite generative canvas. So we have, of course, our commercially safe Firefly models, but we have a whole bunch of other partner and different models. So creators can explore the different types of tooling, get the results that work for them, and explore different ideas, whether it's for mood boarding or storyboarding or just coming up with different ideas or stretching an idea in multiple different directions. It's really a playground for your imagination.
Yeah. So I use that for our project. That was my first time using it, and it just allowed me to work like super fast. And then I was able to have my team in there. So the editor, one of AI artists that was helping me generate visuals. So we were all in the boards, like working. Was on a phone with him. So just like, hey, add this and do that. Love Midjourney. What else? C Dance is is amazing. And Claude, I still use ChatGPT. That's pretty much my main 11 Labs. It's my main stack right now.
That's a good stack.
Yeah, yeah.
And then what's next for you creatively? What are the big projects that you're
so
teeth into?
really want to innovate in the planetarium space. So we have
Planetarium.
Yeah. So working on BBL Drizzy the musical, which is so it's gonna be a narrative planetarium experience. And then I'm doing stand up. I'm back doing stand up. So just doing traditional stand up right now, but like I think by the end of the year, definitely 2027. It's 2027. Oh my gosh, the year's flying.
Right?
Yeah, I was like, what year are we in right now? I'm just like...
That sounds super strange to me.
Yeah.
I mean, 2025 was one thing. 2027? We now live in the future,
we're like almost there. Like, but yeah, just wanting to innovate in the stand-up comedy space as well. So I think that stand-up comedy is a frontier that AI hasn't really touched yet. And I think that there's a lot of like innovative things, whether it be, maybe, you're doing your stand-up comedy bit and you have like, a LED wall behind you that's like animating in real time.
So fun.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of like possibilities, right? It's just, somebody has to kind of jump out and do it. And then everybody else is like, okay, well, now we can all do it. Yeah.
Totally. What about you? What are you seeing out there that's exciting to you, that feels innovative, that is an interesting application of these tools?
I would say that it's democratizing the ability to bring your ideas to life. I mean, like, so every day a new model is dropping or a new technology is dropping, and it's really making it possible for people who have a vision, whether it's an application or something that they need or a creative project or endeavor. It's kind of removing excuses. So it's like, I don't know how to code, or I don't know how to design, or I don't know how to whatever.
Or we don't have the money.
Yeah. Or like, that was another thing. I have an amazing, million dreams, but, I don't have the funds that I need to get started. It's like, well, the reality is now is that you can bring ideas to life very, very quickly. So even to go back onto the question of boards, right? If you were working on a story, like a traditional, a filmmaking project, you'd have a script and then you'd have to do a little bit of storyboarding. But now you can take that idea right out of your head and you can start to go scene by scene by scene by scene and get that vision going so other people can get on board faster. And so, I mean, it's like if you have an idea, like we are in such a magical moment in time where like really you just kind of have to get out of bed and do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
100%. I'm curious, how soon before we see our first Oscar-nominated AI film? What's your prediction?
I would say before this decade is over, but before 2030, I think we'll see that. I mean, just think about like the changes and the innovations that's happened since 2022. It's been 4 years, and like
it's insane.
You can make a full AI film now, if you really wanted to. So and I think that Hollywood is slowly adopting it more and more. You're seeing more people lean into it. Obviously Ben Affleck doing that deal with Netflix. So I would say by 2030, at the latest. It might be sooner than that.
What do you think is needed? Oh, sorry, Wes, what's your prediction?
I'm about the same. I mean, like we're already seeing, generative AI is used as part of the supporting parts of the workflow. I think as time gets on, people are going to become, I guess, more comfortable with it. And also, it's like any new technology, it's like immediately, how do we deal with it? But then like, as we can find ways of making sort of like commercially safe and respectful AI and find ways to work with artists and partner with them in ways that, respect the craft and all that sort of thing. And also will also unlock new opportunities as well, right? It's like I can take a look at one example of, when we make a generative model that makes, say, one type of content that the customer wants, and then suddenly when you have something that creates authentically, it opens up so many other doorways that you can then create authentically that was never part of your initial, plan. So I think when those opportunities start to realize that we can actually widen the aperture of creativity, then that will probably bring forward the timing, I would say, when we can start to see this more widely part of the industry.
Are there any projects or artists that you've followed or that have done something that sort of inspired you?
Good question. I'm gonna have to come back on that one.
I know that's a tough one. It's putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
What about you, King?
I mean, Matt Z, Don Allen, Oh God, man.
Here.
Yeah. Oh man, like I'm such a fan of his, man. He's just, stuff he's doing with robots now, and just I remember I met him, I think like 2 years ago at South by, and he had the backpack, and he had the glass in it, and I was like, oh, you're really this guy that you portray online. So I'm like, well, it's not portraying, it's who he is.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's just so many AI artists. I don't want to leave anybody out, and somebody you didn't say my name. But I mean, I get inspired, every day, just like looking at the different things that people create, and I mean, I just inspired by life, to be honest. But it's really cool to see, your peers and your friends, them innovate. Or I think the cool thing about AI is just like, once somebody kind of cracks a code or figures out like a new workflow, then it's like open source. Yeah. So everybody now
jumps in.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, even just being here at the conference, there's some interesting things outside of this podcast room. There's a music/scent, like a scent tool that creates music based on the scents, which actually makes a lot of sense. No pun intended. Makes a lot of sense to me. As a filmmaker, one of the most challenging things I found about sort of finishing a movie is the music and soundscape, and making sure that it really not just fits the scene. And I mean, as you know, if you're changing the song, it completely changes the texture, the energy of the scene. And then you also have to make it work within the entire film, right? You have to have like a continuity of style and tone. But there's like, certain songs that sound sweet and certain sounds that are just like make you feel revolted or whatever the thing is. Well, the same with our olfactory system, right? We have these associations with that. We have associations with visuals. I'm really interested in how we start using the data of human physiological experience and reactions to map sounds, visuals, I guess, smells to a physical experience that we have and an emotion, so that we can create these even sort of more interactive and full scope experiences, if that makes sense. So when you're doing your stand-up routine, maybe you also have scents released in the air alongside your routine, which starts getting so wacky and creative and weird. But I love the idea that this is just around the corner for artists to be thinking truly in multidisciplinary ways and in sensory ways. Because that's ultimately kind of what we're doing, is we're giving people an experience.
Yeah, I agree. I actually had a conversation with Flosstradamus about this, and maybe like a month ago, we were just talking about like, what's the next evolution for music? Because you think about now, it was, you using instruments, and now you can like prompt songs, and then to the point you can just kind of like, if you're not typing, you can just talk, and I was like, I feel like the next step is maybe like with haptic suits, where you just conduct music, you're moving your hand like this and it creates a certain sound, or just a full body experience. But I mean, I think the sounds and smells, just full, like total immersive experiences when it comes to creativity. I think that'll be really dope. I want to see that soon.
What about you, Wes?
So smell-o-vision is real, is what you're saying.
Smell-o-vision.
Wow.
That's so
cool. Well, I mean, it's one of the most powerful emotional flashback tools also is smell, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like there's certain smells now that it's like, if I smell it, I haven't smelled it in like 30 plus years, and it takes me right back 40 years now, geez, to like to little school, right? And it's like, wow. So the possibilities of like linking those olfactory senses to creators' work or this type of thing, it's like to create such an immersive, it just seems like absolutely fantastic. Yeah,
prompting smells.
Yeah,
prompting. It's gonna happen, you guys. I'm telling you.
Yeah, it will. It will.
All right, to close us out, I want to know, what is the one tool right now you can't live without?
Claude.
How are you using Claude?
I use it for everything. So I'm using Claude Code the most, like in the terminal. I just love it. I love seeing the terminal screen. I feel like Mr. Robot. And it's just fun because like, with Claude now, you can essentially just build everything, and you can connect it to like every program. So you can edit with Premiere with Claude. Like It's really just like there's no limitation, and the Anthropic team, they're shipping like every week.
It's crazy.
I'm just like, you guys, I'm excited, but I was just like, they just don't stop. So yeah, I can't live without Claude right now.
Yeah.
What about you?
Same thing. Yeah. I mean, I've used it to automate almost all of my flow.
Really?
I'm very conversational now with all the systems that I used to have to do a lot of dragging and dropping and typing. And now I've wired things up to talk to my Jira, to my Slack, to literally every tool. And now I can, I think, be as thoughtful now about how I want to do things, because I can, I often think and speak at the same time. And so by using these tooling, I'm like, I need to do this, okay, arrange that. And it just starts to orchestrate things, which kind of frees me up to do all the other important work and thinking that I like to do. So yeah, I mean, Claude's been an absolute game changer for me as well.
It really has for me. I think it was January when I started actually really diving in deep. I was a ChatGPT girl for a very long time.
We all were.
And then I built my first app, and I was like, oh my gosh.
Wow.
Wait a second. Wow. And then I built another app and another app and another app. And it was like, this is insane. And now I'm building Claude skills and connecting to my Gmail and my calendar so that everything just happens.
Wow.
And it's changing the way I think about how I engage with my own work, which is really, really exciting. And also, is the world ready?
Right. Is that the tool that you can't live without, Claude?
100%.
Okay.
If I would be really working at a handicap now if someone ripped Claude out of my hands.
Right. You know, it's really interesting though, just because I guess most AI artists or just AI people that use these tools, we're very tool agnostic. Yeah. And it's just whoever, Claude just came roaring back. I mean, I knew about Claude. They've been around, but to your point, I was a ChatGPT girly as well. So, but yeah, now Claude is just it's everything.
It's everything. Oh man. Well, thank you too for stopping by the podcast. Enjoy the rest of the conference here. And I'm excited to catch up with you guys later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.